Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Guys, today's video is quite a different one. And I told you guys yesterday that now my focus is just on making money, and I want to make content that resonates with you people as to what exactly I am doing to move forward in that journey, right? So the first step is education, and I want to educate myself as to how to run a business, how to create a business, whether it's a service business that I want to do or whether it's a product business, whatever it is. This is everything that I've learned today, right? And I think these are the kind of videos that I'm going to start making where I'm just presenting whatever I've learned, teaching it to people as best as I can, and adding value to people's lives while I add value to mine. Basically, I'm doing the research so you guys don't have to. Now, the first step in building a business is to come up with a concept. And that's what we're going to talk about first up is whatever that concept is, whether it's something that you want to provide, like it's a product, you're basically coming up with a hoodie or you're coming up with sports goods, whatever that product is, you want there to be a concept, right? You could even have a service business, and in that regard, software as a service could be a concept. But whatever it is, you need to define what the brand concept is and what its purpose is exactly, right? So you need it to have a strong purpose because otherwise you're not going to stick with it for the long run, right? Your purpose needs to be hardcore. It can't just be, oh, I want to make some extra cash on the side. I mean, obviously it can be, but it's not gonna help you stick to it when things get tough. That's what I've learned. And so you come up with a concept. You need to have a very strong purpose as to why you're doing this business and what this business will provide to the world. And you want to come up with your brand name. Now, you don't want to spend too much time in coming up with a brand name because I think people waste a lot of time coming up with names, and they need to be perfect names, but you can always change the name as you go forward and see whatever resonates with your audience. However, you want the name to be something simple and something that isn't being used before, right? Preferably, because if there are Instagram handles with that name and if there are websites with that name, then it's going to be quite difficult for you to procure them or buy them off, especially if you're someone like me who's trying to start from $0, right? We're broke. We're trying to build a business from nothing. So you want that brand name to be simple, and you want that to not be used before, and you want to trademark it, right? We must own the trademark for whatever you're doing, and this comes down to when you start scaling the business. You want that name to just be yours. There's a lot of times that people have come up with a business name where they've used a business name for a while and it's worked well for them, and then as soon as they've tried to scale it, they've come up with issues in trademark because someone else has an Instagram handle with that name, and then you're trying to get that, and it's a huge ordeal. So you want to get a brand name, you want to get a purpose as to why you're doing what you're doing, and then you want to trademark it. And the third thing is that you want to secure all the domains with that name. But this again comes down to scaling. Initially, it's just get the concept, choose a unique brand name, and you want to have an important mission that aligns with it, right? So the second step would be to find the suppliers and the partners for your particular business because you cannot do everything by yourself. You probably don't have enough knowledge and you probably don't have enough resources. So, for example, you're trying to come up with a clothing brand and you're trying to sell hoodies. You need a supplier. You need someone who's supplying you with the raw materials to either create a hoodie or with a hoodie with your own designs on it. So you want to look for that, and the first thing you want to look for in a supplier is that they provide high quality product. You can always go on Alibaba and try to get as cheap of a product as possible, but no one's going to buy that product. And even if they do, you can't scale that business because people are not going to pay for it for a flawed product. It's gonna get bad reviews, and you're gonna hit the gutter real quick. So you don't want something cheap to start off with. A lot of people I think make that mistake where they start off with something cheap. However, you need something high quality so that people actually want to invest in it and people actually want to buy it, whether it's your service or whether it's your product, right? So a high quality product is necessary. Then you negotiate terms with the suppliers. Now, your supplier or your partner could be anybody, right? If you're making a product business like the clothing brand that I was talking about, you want to be able to um, get a supplier who is willing to do work with you where you have no money, right? The video that I was watching where it was talking about suppliers was talking about how if you have $4,000 saved up, it's a lot easier to negotiate terms with a supplier to get samples and start selling and then investing back into the business. However, if you're starting with zero, like I would be, the best bet would be to go and speak to the suppliers and tell them that, hey, how about I sell the stuff that you're providing me first, and then I can provide you with the money, or I can give you a 25% upfront. Whatever money you have, you can try to invest it. If you don't have money, you can try to build a deal around maybe your purpose, right? That's the third point, where you want to align suppliers with your brand values. So if you have a strong enough purpose and you can reiterate that to suppliers, they'll probably try to align with you, right? They'll probably be like, you know what? Okay, this person has a strong enough uh, mission, and this person looks determined enough. Maybe I want to invest in their business, and you basically get your supplier to invest into your business, right? So again, this is kind of wishful thinking, but then again, the world is a kind place. Once you ask for help, you will get help, right? So that's the most important thing, is try to build a deal with your suppliers to provide you with the materials without having to pay a lot of money up front for the samples and for all the other stuff that we're going to talk about later. If you are doing a service-based business, for example, where you are, let's say, designing websites for businesses, then you want your partner to be someone who's really good at web design, right? Someone who's really good at coding, or someone who's really good with technology, right? I think if you can find someone who's really good at technology and who's really good at web design, and they want to start something with you, and you can pitch the idea to them that, okay, how about you do the dirty work where you're doing the technological stuff, where you're designing the websites, and where you're working with all the tools that you need to be working with, and I pull the clients, right? Uh, a lot of people who are great web designers, or a lot of people who are great software engineers, are not very good at talking to people, or are not very good at pulling clients into their skill. They don't know how to use their skill effectively and monetize it. That's where you can come in. You can speak to someone who you're going to school with, or speak to someone that is probably your cousin and is good at web development, for example. Whatever your business model is, try to get people on board, because you cannot do everything by yourself. The third step would be the sampling and the audience analysis, right? So first thing first, when it comes to sampling, do not buy a lot upfront, right? If you're trying to start with zero, you don't have the money to buy a lot upfront. You probably have the money to buy like 25, 50 pieces, right? Uh, for example, I'm trying to sell boxing gloves, right? I buy 50 pieces and I sell those 50 pieces first. And then whatever profit I make from those 50 pieces, I invest back into my business. And this time I buy 100 pieces. And then I sell those 100 pieces. So you got to start small. A lot of people try to, buy a bunch of samples, or buy too few samples as well, and then, they can't scale it. So it's obviously better to start small, but not too small, where, you're not kind of challenged, and you're not in an uncomfortable position. So you want to put yourself in an uncomfortable position, but not so huge that you have a debt of, I don't know how many thousands of dollars, because you cannot sell the samples that you bought. So buy the samples, sell it to friends and family, sell it to people close to you, get them to buy first, see what they're saying about the product, and change it accordingly before you go big with it, right? You don't want to be spending a lot of money on your first sample when you don't even know if it resonates with your audience, whether it resonates with your own purpose that you talked about before. So the first few steps need to be very, very small. And then and then the next thing is, look at the demographic, right? Who is your customer exactly? So let's say if I'm selling trendy hoodies, then my customer would be 18 to 30-year-olds who are into this trendy stuff. And if you're selling sports hoodies, for example, then it could be teams, right? Cricket teams could buy sports hoodies, or football teams could buy sports hoodies. It could be, if you're trying to sell gloves, it could be professional fighters, or people who are trying to get into fighting really, really early, or university programs that build on boxing or MMA. You can approach them, where you can have customized products for them, where they have their names on it, they have their own branding on it. So you want to know who your customer is exactly, and then you design your product, and then you buy the samples, you sell it to the people, see what their review is, and then you change your product accordingly, right? So that's what it comes down to when we're talking about sampling and audience analysis. Again, this step kind of ties down to the previous one that I talked about, which was product design and store setup, uh, which was product design. So when you have your demographic ready, when you have sold a few samples and you know what works and what doesn't work, then you can work on designing the product. Again, you want to design this product not how you prefer it to look like, but how your audience prefers it to look like. So putting your own brand name on your product is probably not the best idea, but putting someone else's brand name on it might sound like a better idea. So for example, if you're trying to sell gloves, you can just be like, all right, my company's name is such and such. However, instead of putting a huge logo of my own company on that product, I put their name. So if I'm going to, let's say, UFC, right? This is a crazy example, but let's say I'm going to UFC. It's better to put their name on my product and have my name on the inside, maybe, because that way I'm designing my product for my demographic and not for myself. And then you want to build a store. Now, this is how you start scaling, right? You don't just want to be approaching clients through cold calls and cold emails. You want to have them land somewhere. You want to look legit. You want to look like a proper business. And instead of setting up a professional store where you're paying rent, which you cannot afford, you could set up a Shopify store, or you could have your own website that could be developed where people can land on, if you're giving out brochures regarding your product, people can search up a website and land on your store and buy from there. Shopify makes it very, very easy. I think you can get a free store. Maybe in the coming videos I'll probably try to create a Shopify store in front of you guys and show you exactly how it's done. But I need to look into that as well. Once again, step by step, right? This is what I've learned right now, and this is what I'm teaching you guys. Next step is planning and distribution. This is how once again, you start scaling. So initially you start small. You start with one client, whomever it is, and your distribution partners eventually will be the people that determine if your product has quality or not, right? So when it comes to a product business, then where you're selling those hoodies, is it Tesco, or is it Winner, or is it Walmart, or is it a high-end brand? So it really matters who you're aligning yourself with when it comes to your distribution. If you're doing a service business, then you want to be doing work for reputable companies, right? Because if you've done work for a reputable company, it doesn't need to be a large company, but it needs to be something that people know about. People know that it's a company that works with integrity, and it's a company that you've done good work for, and they've given you positive reviews. That will determine the quality of your product, whether it's a physical product or a service in itself. So yeah, choose quality partners, maintain brand perception. You want to maintain this from the start. You don't want to have a terrible brand perception, someone who doesn't deliver on what they promised. So you want to keep that in mind, and aligning yourself with the right people will obviously help in progressing your brand perception. The next step is your marketing and promotion strategies. Now, this step kind of starts a lot earlier, the more I think about it, because you don't just want to be marketing when you make it a huge brand. You don't want to be marketing your product when it's a huge brand. You want to start marketing as soon as possible, maybe even before you come up with the product itself. Like this, for example, me making this content is marketing for a product that I could come up with in the future. People are already watching my videos. When they see my journey and they see, okay, this is what he's come up with, and he's put in a lot of work, and he's shown us the journey, exactly how he's gone from point 0 to point 10, where he's come out with a product and he's trying to sell it, people are going to be more inclined to buy it, right? So instead of actually trying to sell your product through ads and paying people and paying Google ads with the money that you don't have, once again, which I don't have, you want to start making content. And that's exactly what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to focus on content creation over paid ads. I'm trying to put out as much content as I possibly can so people are familiar with me, and then people will buy from people who they're familiar with, who they like. And that's what I'm trying to do with this content. So that's what you want to do. If you're starting a business, you want to start making content, whether it's after you've come out with the product or whether it's before, that's up to you, but you need to start making content, and it's way better over paid ads because you don't have the money to provide those paid ads. Then after that, you could obviously leverage influencers and affiliate marketing. Now, when I heard this, or when I was studying this, I thought, okay, this is crazy, right? Which influencer is going to promote a product that I've just come out with that has no reviews? However, if you can get yourself on Instagram, and if you can get yourself in the right area and talk to the right people, if your values and your purpose aligns with theirs, there's a lot of people that will just market you for free. They'll probably, out of the 50 samples you get, if you sell 48 of them, maybe give 2 of them for free to a certain influencer and tell them, hey, I'm giving you this product for free, and this will probably align with your values, or probably align with the work that you're doing, and it'll make your life easier, it'll add value to your life. How about you just make a video saying that you use this product? You don't have to pay them anything. You just give them a free product, and you just tell them, use this product and just make a video of you using it. And enough people know you, then enough people are going to come to me. Or you could be like, you know what? How about you use this product? I don't have any money to give you right now, but depending on the number of sales you make, I could give you some commission, right? And that's how affiliate marketing could work. If you give a product to someone, they put a link in their bio, and someone buys from them, you could just give a cut of whatever product that has been bought through them to them, right? So you don't really need to be paying people up front for your marketing. That's why from the research that I've done, I think investing in paid ads comes a lot later where you have that money to do so. Initially, it's just focus on making your own content and trying to leverage other people's content to sell your own product. Yeah, so that's how you do your marketing and your promotion. The next step is to launch the product, right? So you want to launch your product at the right time. If you're trying to sell hoodies in the summer, it's probably not a great idea. But if you try to sell hoodies in autumn, and that's when you launch it, and that's when you've built all the hype around it. So for example, you've already, made content over it. You've already approached clients. You've already gotten influencers to use the samples that you've provided. You've already collected a few testimonials from your initial clients, which were probably your friends and families, and you've tried to show it to people and show them that this is the product that you're going to launch, and this is the product that you're going to launch at a greater scale. Right now, it's just a few clients that have used it, and these are their testimonials, and these are the influencers using your product, and this is what the value that I can provide with this product, and this is the purpose of my business. Once you do launch it, you've built enough hype around it, it needs to be at the right time, and it needs to maximize exposure, where you need to be creative with how you launch it. So try to come up with something creative. You don't have to, it doesn't have to always be money, right? So if you're trying to sell a hoodie, just like, and it's related to gym, right? It's like athletic wear. Just go in random gyms and start putting flyers out there. You probably get in a little bit of trouble for it, but at the end of the day, the worst that they'll do is just take down the flyers. But before they do so, people are going to look at it. People are probably going to be and make that flyer kind of interesting, right? Like put something controversial on it so that people start talking about it, and then people are like, there was a flyer there, someone took it down, like they took it down, that was crazy, whatever. And they're talking about your brand. So make it a bit controversial, make it a bit creative, and launch it at the right time. You don't want to be launching hoodies in the summer. You don't want to be launching ice cream in the winter. So whatever your product is, try to launch it at the right time. When it comes to a service model business, I don't think there is a right time. You just do it whenever you can, because it's a service at the end of the day. But especially when it comes to a product, you want to do it whenever you think that it would be in higher demand. You want to start off as strong as you possibly can. Now, after you've launched your product, you've collected a few clients, you've done your promotion, you've done your marketing, and your business is growing, this is how you want to maintain the reputability of your business, and how your business is perceived by other people. And you need to find out what people are willing to pay money for, right? So for starters, your infrastructure needs to be having a good product, right? Because if you don't have a good product, people are not willing to pay money for it. So you want to have a good product that people are willing to pay money for. And then the second thing is your delivery, right? It needs to be on time. And if you can, make it a little bit more personable initially to have that testimonial of happy your clients. So let's say again, we talk about the hoodies, pack them up in certain boxes, and maybe put in a little extra gift with it. When it comes to a lot of delivery systems and delivery services, sometimes you could get you could be delivering the same thing in twos. Like you could be delivering 2 hoodies for the price of one, because it costs the same to deliver one and it costs the same to deliver 2. So what you can do is basically go on a limb and offer a buy one get one free kind of a deal initially, right? Or don't even give that deal. They order one, you just put another one in, and show good faith and try to get those customers on your side where they're talking about, because at the end of the day, those people that you're selling to are going to be your advertisers. They're going to be your testimonials. They're going to be your referrals and your references. And they're going to be telling other people about how great your hoodie was or how great your service was and how it benefit them. And when they start talking for free about you with other people, you're going to start increasing business. So you want to deliver on expectations, and you want to deliver maybe over expectations initially to get that strong network as early as possible. And you want to go step by step. So the first two steps, get a good product, and second, deliver on expectations. You want to provide accurate delivery, on-time delivery, deliver when it is possible. And if you can't, if there's an issue, personal messages, try to connect with the people so that they don't have a negative experience with you. The ninth step would be to perfect sales. Now, once you've done the cold calling, and once you've done the cold DMs, and once you've tried to sell and create clients, whether it's a service model or a product model, and you've done those things initially, you want to build a sales system, you want to build a sales strategy. If we sell one hoodie, we need to have a system to ask the person if they would like a t-shirt. So for example, if you've sold a hoodie, right, and they've gotten the hoodie and they've given you a good review, and you're reaching out to them, you're like, you know what, hey, we're coming up with this new product. If you liked our old one so much, how about we give you the new one for half a price? And if you would like that, something like that, where you're creating a sales strategy now, where you've got their information, they're probably giving you their email, they're probably giving you their phone number, or whatever their information that you've gotten. You reach out back to them. Number one, you get a good review and a good testimonial out of it, where you can provide it on your websites or your stores for other customers to see. But secondly, you're building trust with them, and you're building a strategy where you're not just selling for once, you're selling for a long period of time. You're building a scalable business. Uh, and you need to remember that marketing is not everything. There's this word that I learned, that marketing is inbound reactive, where I don't know exactly what that means, but it sounded kind of cool. Where marketing is inbound reactive and sales is outbound proactive. So marketing is very reactive. So people react to it and they come to you, whereas sales is proactive, where you're taking the action and you're going out of your way to get people to come back to you, right? So again, going back to this UFC example, you being proactive could be you reaching out to UFC and being like, hey, UFC, would you like these new gloves or would you like to sponsor these new gloves in a particular gym? Or you reach out to a famous fighter and you're like, hey, I know you have this gym, would you want to sponsor us for our gloves? Or would you want to buy some gloves from us where it has your name and a nice logo from your gym, or your branding on it, and everybody in your gym is using that product and trying to basically market you to everybody else. So there's a lot of ways you can do that, where you're trying to sell marketing, right? You're trying to sell how your product could be marketed, and everybody benefits from it. I don't know if I explained that well enough, but I think you get the gist of it. Um, and then the final step is financial management, and how you basically strategize your finances when it comes to your business, right? So first thing first, you need to know exactly what everything costs, right? You cannot go forward with estimates. That's what I've learned, is that you don't want to be losing money. You want to be making it. And a lot of times there are hidden costs that we don't worry about, or we don't know. And we lose a lot of money because of that. So even before you start, try to get as best of an estimate as you possibly can, close to that exact value, as to how much one product will cost you. Everything. How much that product will cost you from the supplier side, how much the delivery would cost you, how much it would cost you to market, how much it will cost you to, if you're going down that route of paid ads, how much would that cost? You need to know exactly what every single cost would be. If you're, importing the product from somewhere else, from another country, how much would that import cost be? Everything needs to be studied and documented, and you never want to be charging the clients less than what your cost is, right? You always want to be charging more. And you want to be reinvesting all your profits initially, especially. You want to be living that broke lifestyle for a little while, where any money that you make, you want to put it back into the business to scale it. Don't try to take some money. Yes, obviously, if you really, really need it, then yeah, keep some money aside for yourself, but try to invest as much as you possibly can back into the business. And when it comes to service businesses, it's very easy to financially manage, where you can get a 50% cost from the client himself. Sorry, you could get 50% of what your product totally costs that you're trying to sell it at, and that 50% will cover your own costs, and then the 50% comes later. This is usually what service business models do, where they take an upfront 50% advance payment, which will cover all their costs, which is either to pay the web designers or pay for their own time, or pay for the laptop they have to buy, or pay for the service that they need to use, or pay for a CRM software that they're trying to use for the service-based model. And then the rest of the 50% comes after, which is basically profit, and then you invest it back into the business and as much as you possibly can for as long as you possibly can. And the last thing is to set targets. Set realistic targets and plan for growth. If you don't know where you're heading, you're never going to head there. So you want to know exactly what you're doing, where you're going, and that's what I will say is your final takeaway is from each step, concept to financial management, record and document everything, create as much content as you possibly can, and set targets. Set targets every step of the way. And yeah, go through this video again if you need to, and reach out to me if you need any help. Maybe we can do our research together, and we can continue growing together. Until next time, I love you guys.